Hey guys, TechGeekHD here again with another video, and today I have my review of the iPhone 12 Pro. Now you might be wondering why I'm doing a review of this phone essentially halfway through the product release cycle of the iPhone, and it's really because I wanted to spend some quality time with this phone, really sort of learning it and using it day in and day out as my primary mobile device before I gave you my thoughts. Every year I buy a new iPhone and I sort of live with it for a couple of weeks and I make my video, but this was a phone that I felt like I wanted to dedicate some time to before I put out my video. Now, this phone is really defined by two primary characteristics for me, and my experience with the phone really builds off of these two things. The first one is the build, construction, and design of the chassis of the iPhone, and that is because of its return to the flat sides and the more squared off design, and I think this is something that I really love and enjoyed with older iPhones. And then the second one, of course, is the camera. Now, the camera system isn't majorly evolved from the iPhone 11 Pro Max that I was using before this, but taking a look at some of the pictures is what really defines this phone's experience for me. To start off, the primary shooter I think does a really great job with dynamic range and light. I imagine the dynamic range on this phone wasn't going to be vastly different from the iPhone 11 Pro Max because it does use essentially the same sensor setup for the primary camera. But what I noticed was the software performance at the very least was very different, and it was able to handle colors and detail really well. What I did have higher hopes for and was a little bit disappointed with was the performance of the ultra-wide camera. This is a camera I really enjoyed using on the 11 Pro Max, and as you can see here, I ended up seeing a lot of different reflections and light artifacting in the frame. I'm not really sure why this is, but it's something that I hope Apple can either try and correct with its physical lens system in the next iPhone, or try and find software fixes to be able to remedy it. Other problem areas I found were when you were looking at textures that were very repetitive, but strengths lay in things like night mode. The night mode did a really great job of being able to preserve a lot of detail in the shadows and the darks while not crushing anything and adding too much noise. The front camera is just a front camera. It has a normal mode and then you can punch out into a slightly wider view, but I think it should really be reserved for things like video calls and nothing too serious. The telephoto lens is something I didn't use very much at all. What I did take advantage of a lot though was Apple's Pro RAW. The ability to take these really detailed RAW photographs using just your iPhone is something very powerful, especially when you're sharing to things other than just social media, and want to capture as much color and detail in images as possible. Now it can range from very light color correction and light editing to being able to really change the dynamic of the images, and that's something that I really enjoyed. Other strengths of the phone, and this has been a strength of iPhones forever, is video performance. I really love how HDR video looks great on this phone. It's processed super well, it preserves highlights and shadows while continuing to look really natural, and I think ultimately it's fair to say that this is definitely the best video camera available on any iPhone today. While I don't have a ton of experience with other mobile phones and their video performance, I can absolutely say with the iPhones that I've used in the last couple of years, the 12 Pro does an excellent job, not only when it comes to preserving details and processing colors, but especially with the in-body and in-camera stabilization, which is second to none. Now, talking about the camera and the lens profiles a little bit, I wanted to actually bring up a product I've been using extensively with the iPhone 12 Pro, and that is the Sandmark Polarizer. If you're not familiar with polarizers, I'm actually using one when filming this video on my camera, and it works very similar to the way that polarized sunglasses might, except it fits really snugly over your iPhone's camera setup, where it inspires confidence in your ability to shoot because of its excellent build quality. So like I was saying, it acts kind of like a polarized set of sunglasses that you would wear on your face. It kind of helps to suppress the surface glare, especially in things that are extremely reflective. So here I'm sort of trying to show you through the viewfinder of my phone the way that the reflections in the front glass of my car look like. It actually suppresses some of those reflections and the glare that you might have there and helps bring out some of the detail that you might not otherwise be able to capture from your phone. The last thing I want to touch on about the Polarizer is its actual build quality. I think it's built really well, and I think that's really important when using accessories like these with your iPhone so that you don't really distort your image quality at all. I think the mount is made out of a nice plastic material that's pretty hard and rigid, which helps keep a solid grip on the phone, and it has a little bit of leeway for cases and other iPhone accessories, and the glass quality is really great because it doesn't let any sort of refraction or issues happen with your image. The only thing that I wish that it came with is some sort of cap or cover for the actual part that's made out of glass. It came with this little nylon bag, which isn't bad, but if it had like a little rubber cap or something, that would really help protect it from scratches and things, and it would make it probably a little bit more confidence inspiring when I carry it around with me and try and take photos with my iPhone. Now, there's a few other things I really need to talk about with this iPhone, other than maybe the design. I think that it was really interesting that Apple finally went back to the squared-off design, and that's sort of the new direction of their industrial design for their iPads and iPhones, and hopefully as well with their MacBook computers. I know that like my Pro Display XDR is squared off, and I really like the feel and the hand of this phone as well. The experience of using iOS, for those who are familiar with iPhones and the way that the experience of using these are, you know that there aren't any major changes every year, but there are kind of an accumulation of little changes throughout the year with constant software updates and new things that Apple is always tweaking and adding as far as their services business is concerned, as well as the general experience of using iOS and the features that come on these iPhones. And so it's an iPhone is probably the most accurate thing I could say about the experience of using this phone, but I think that the real meat and potatoes of this review were the details about the camera and the camera experience, because that is really what is most important, at least to me as an individual when using this phone and being able to go out and create content with it and use it as a media creation device, now not just a media consumption device, the way that iPhones and other smartphones have kind of primarily been for the last decade or so. But that's kind of about it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this style of review and want more videos like this, remember to leave a like rating on the video and a comment in the comment section below letting me know. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.